Welcome to the holiday SOFI weekly episode. Today I'm joined by Steven, Roy, and actually Tevis just left. He'll be back. He'll be back, obviously, for the people that are on Tevis's channel. Don't worry, he'll be here. But Roy, how's it going, man? I love the hat.
It's going great. Good to be back on with you guys. And I will say, as a Christmas gift to Tanner, Tevis is a reason why we were late. It wasn't Tanner this time. It's the only time. Merry Christmas.
I like that, Roy. I appreciate that.
I was trying to stall on purpose.
He was asking me about my setup, but
100%. I was trying to stall on purpose for Tanner to be late.
I try to do that usually. Usually that's my job, but yeah.
So we have a couple things on the docket. One, we're going to be talking about some SoFi news, a bunch of stuff that I think Tevis wants to talk about as well. We have a little bit of a gift giving segment. Is everyone ready on that, by the way?
Yep. I tried wrapping it, but had a little trouble.
That's good.
You just have to wrap it now, like when you're explaining the gift.
Yeah, over well.
I think I know what Tevis got me because he sent me a text asking if I hold this stock. So I'll leave it a secret for now. I'm excited. I'm still excited. But yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then we want to give some end of year predictions for 2024. Not hard studied ones. Just some quick and easy math for people, or quick and easy predictions, and potentially even if you guys want to do a little prediction of what you think the end of the year will look like. But not many days left in that. But Steven,
Tanner,
any macro Steve information? Any updates on the macro side of the economic world?
I mean, you really want to start there with everything we have to discuss?
Well, let's start with this then.
That's boring stuff. I don't think people came here hear me talk about the macro. First,
okay, wait. I always have to ask Tevis this. Tevis, where are we supposed to be sitting? Where are we?
I'm like this.
There you go. And then Steve's bottom left and Roy's top. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Sorry about that. Okay.
You guys like my shirt? It says ho 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 hodl.
Nice.
Yeah.
With little Bitcoin logos on it.
I like the little tummy that you showed while trying to get up.
Getting nice and personal on this one.
But yeah, no, there's been some exciting news this week for SoFi and also PayPal, which I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about. But if that has to bleed into the SoFi weekly after our show, that's perfectly fine. But can we talk about what I think first off was potentially the most exciting news of the week, in my opinion, was that ARK Venture Fund actually was confirmed to be coming to the SoFi Invest platform. Steven, did you hear about this?
I did. I don't live under a rock.
Well, I mean, he asked us like last week what a meme was. So
yeah, you tell him, Steve.
Yeah. He asked us what a meme was, and so don't let him
Yeah, but what a meme is and a piece of financial news are two different things.
Fair enough. But that financial news happened on X, which you don't use very often.
No, I don't.
The Kathy's Venture Fund is not exclusive to the SoFi platform. It was already announced on Titan, which is an app from Andreessen Horowitz, a financial app. But this does sort of prove alternative assets to start, private equity also being allowed through ARK. But that was one of the rumors that I had heard back whenever we heard that crypto was not going to be continuing on SoFi platform, whenever we heard that mutual funds were going to be coming, whenever alternative assets. So I think this is sort of proving a lot of the rumors that we had heard. Another one, guys, I want your opinion on. Does that also prove that potentially options are not coming till 2025?
Well, we know they're not coming in 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if they put that off. It's the under that's a great move, having Kathy Wood, and I'm sure that they worked with her on that. But that's a really, really good thing because she's been kind of written off over the last year and a half, 2 years. But if people look back and if they were around during that time in 2020 and 2021, she was all the rage. And I don't know that we'll get to peak Kathy Wood again. But certainly there's going to be more interest in her and her funds over this next year. And so having that venture fund and having access to those companies that you normally can't invest in as a normal investor is a great thing. But yeah, as far as the rest of the Invest platform, it's not doing quite as well as I think it should be is not shocking to me. What is more shocking is when something like ARK and Kathy would happen.
Yeah. Tevis?
I was trying to turn on my mic. I turned on my camera. I'm a mess tonight. Yeah, I think it's obviously great news. Shared to hundreds of thousands, I think, in the millions of people now that have listened to that broadcast. And really, SpaceX is, I think, the highest private company in terms of valuation. Definitely one of the highest requested ones for sure, in terms of just retail that wants exposure there. And for that to be on SoFi, it's not exclusively going to be on SoFi, but for it to be on SoFi in the first place, allowing investors on the SoFi platform to get exposure to private companies such as SpaceX and also X, formerly known as Twitter, I think that's going to be huge. So it's amazing from a publicity angle and speaks to SoFi's brand and their product innovation in general. Essentially, it's organic growth, right? It's not an ad spot that they bought. It's not, something that they're throwing, customer acquisition cost at. It's somebody who did a plug to a whole bunch of people. And so that in itself is great, but also great is the fact that now you have this type of exclusivity. I mean, we've mentioned this in the past with the Instacart IPO, with the ARM IPO, that SoFi investors, as a result of being Plus members, as a result of being on the app, have these benefits that others would not have on different platforms. Now, yeah, it's not exclusive, but it's still a benefit. I mean, for me, I know I would love to invest in SpaceX if my broker allowed it, but it doesn't. And so I don't have the option to open a SoFi account in Canada. But if I were in the States and I had a broker that didn't offer me the option to invest in SpaceX, let's say through ARK's venture fund. And so if I did, that would be one extra notch in SoFi's belt to essentially pull some more people over, right? So they keep accumulating these little benefits. And at the end of the day, I think that, we've said in the past that the ecosystem is really the biggest value proposition that the company has. And it's the total sum of all of these benefits that comprise of that ecosystem in the first place.
Yeah. I think it's kind of exciting too that it was with ARK, because if SoFi is getting a closer relationship with ARK as they sort of put out new products, that they look to SoFi first. They're definitely a favorite whenever it comes to retail, so it could definitely attract a lot of people. I think that it's very exciting. You said that potentially millions of people have already seen this. Do you have any framework for how you're looking at views on it? Because I didn't know how to check for that.
Well, when I clipped a portion of the Twitter space this morning, like around 9 a.m. And when I clipped it, it was at 700,000 listens.
Wow.
In the Twitter space. I can just go on really quickly now and just take a look.
Okay.
Yeah, 700,000, it says, have tuned in to this talk. And then obviously you have to amplify it by how many people are also retweeting this out, how many people are talking about this, how many people are covering this on YouTube as well as a result of that. Like that amplifies out.
I didn't even listen to it on Twitter. I listened to it through YouTube. So, that does sort of show another thing. However, it's not like a SoFi branded video that a bunch of people saw it on. It was a small part where they did hype it up as sort of a big announcement, but it definitely wasn't, the entire show. Did you guys get to see the holdings for this investment. I have
No.
them here from Titan. I went on their site. Pretty exciting. So these are the companies that they hold in the weightings. I don't know if it'll go any bigger. There we go. So Databricks being the largest company, and then, you know, as you can see, going down SpaceX,
Wow.
Anthropic.
Replit is a big one for those who don't know. It's basically this tool that allows you to onboard on software development. So if you want to learn Python, let's say as an example, Replit is, I think, one of the biggest tools out there that allows you to do that, which is really cool.
Okay,
Where's
cool.
Stripe?
I don't know if there is Stripe. I think I've gone through here and there's no
Really?
Stripe. Yeah. No Stripe. What's so
I'm
funny
shocked.
is I don't know this to be 100% true, but there's a lot of public companies on here.
Mhm.
And I know that the way to invest in private companies is not obviously as liquid as private companies. So I don't know if these are designed to be part of the company or if they use them as placeholders to keep up a good percent growth while they look to allocate other
Oh,
capital.
look at that. Discord's on there.
Yeah, and Epic Games too.
Yeah.
And Databricks, you know, it's a
Yeah.
Snowflake competitor. Palantir holders know that, but
X
kind
is
of-
there.
Yeah,
And if we go down, there's a couple other names right here.
of course, DNA's in there.
Yeah. I'm happy Flexport is there. It's a pretty cool company that actually Shopify just took a good portion in.
That is so weird that there's so many public companies in there, though. It may be what you said, but it's odd.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Because
mean,
you can't
this
just
is-
keep like you can't keep buying. You need to find some shares, right? So it could be that they're hunting for them, and then they want to make more allocations to something like. I mean, X seems like it has a small percent there, less than 2%. Where I think a lot of people, especially if they want to create a super app, will look to have allocations to X.
I'll tell you, this product's going to be huge for ARC, I think.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people have the ability to invest in these companies due to SEC regulations. So being able to have a ETF that you don't have minimum capital requirements to buy and minimal income requirements or net worth requirements to be qualified to buy is going to help a lot of people. And I think that a lot of people want to invest in Databricks. A lot of people probably want to invest in SpaceX. A lot of people probably want to invest in X. So I think that this fund, forget performance for a minute. Regardless of performance, I think this fund is going to see a very large inflow of capital over a 6-month period. I think there's going to be a lot of demand for it. And I think SoFi will obviously benefit from it being one of the platforms that you can buy it on.
So I wanted to add here because can I give an exclusive rumor as well?
No, I don't. If you're going to do anything, I don't want to know anything I'm not supposed to know. Don't do that.
You don't want to know this answer?
Oh, I know that answer.
Do you know that answer?
She said it was going to be starting in January in SoFi, like literally on the live call.
Okay, well then, yeah. So
Not that exclusive. Me and my 800,000 friends know that.
Well, I don't know, but I know that it's January 17th, and I don't know how I know that.
Okay, so it's nothing that I can get in trouble for. Good.
No, just that they're
You
doing
love
beta
being
testing.
shady.
They're doing beta testing right now for that product, along with other funds and money market mutual funds that are going to come out in January.
Okay.
Little birdie, I don't know. But yeah, so that's quite exciting for people that are looking to do that. I wish the allocation to X would be higher because just talking with people around, there's been a lot of people who have just asked me like, how do I invest in X? And it's hard for me to tell them like that's not a possibility anymore. At least for them. Them and the 769,000 friends. Okay. Tevis, what is next on the docket, my friend?
So the reason why I was late was I was just posting this mega thread on a full year in review for SoFi that goes month by month. If we want, we can run through and just chat about everything. Well, I mean, not everything, but all the major, broad brushstrokes of what SoFi has either delivered or what's happened this year. It's been a big year. I think people have a very short memory, myself included. I combed through 100 plus videos descriptions to find what I was talking about all throughout the year
Sure.
to make that thread. So we can run through it if we want to.
Yeah. Let's do a little recap.
Okay, cool. Just sent it to you on the private chat.
Perfect.
Hmm.
All right. Sharing it now. All right. Tell me how you want to go through this.
Yeah, we can just go month by month and we can pause at the end of each month. Obviously, I had to plug a video in each post because content.
Do you, baby?
But January, started off with Chris Lapointe talking with Chris Hager on SoFi's SBC targets. We got more clarity around the $25, $35, and $45 mark. We were talking a little bit about a Goldman Sachs. They had allocated about $9.7 billion to acquisitions essentially, and their Apple partnership was failing. Marcus was failing. Major banks saw challenges in terms of capital ratios. They were basically forecasting that SVB thing that happened towards March. JP Morgan shut down Frank. If you'll remember, Frank was the one that had about 400,000 or 4 million fake accounts. SoFi crushed their earnings. This was also the first time when SoFi brought that profitability estimate on the table with their full year guidance for 2023.
Wasn't Frank also a student loan lender?
Yeah, so JP Morgan bought Frank for 125 million. And then after they bought them, they realized, oh, wait, like half the accounts, if not more, were fake.
Okay.
February was a slower month. March was a bigger month, so I sort of merged them together. Galileo had some layoffs due to the integration with Technisys. This is where they folded in Technisys. There were some redundancies. I think the total was like single-digit percentage, people they laid off. The Weeknd dropped Live at SoFi Stadium album. SoFi sued the Department of Education over student loans. And if you'll remember, we were talking about the backlash.
Didn't like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Still don't like it, by the way.
March is really when things popped off with Silicon Valley Bank collapsing, Moody's downgraded the entire banking sector. Credit Suisse plummet. It was bought out it was first of all bailed out by the Swiss National Bank for $60 billion and later bought out by UBS for $2 billion in the same month. Reddit leaked that SoFi was buying Wyndham Capital, if you'll remember this. And in response to the whole Silicon Valley Bank fiasco that happened, SoFi extended their FDIC insurance to $2 million, and Anthony Noto came out on different outlets to basically outline why this is important and why customer funds are safe. In April, the FedNow registration started.
Where's the video?
What's that?
Where's the video?
I didn't have one for April.
Huh.
I was rushing to do this. So in April, FedNow registration started, and Anthony Noto came out, I think it was a JP Morgan fireside, but I might be wrong on this one, where he predicted that SoFi was going to be a top 10 financial institution in the next 3 to 5 years, he said. SoFi officially announced the acquisition of Wyndham Capital. Apple launched their savings account. We were talking about how Apple might disrupt SoFi because their savings account was, all the rage in April. In May, SoFi announced a triple beat for the first quarter 2023. Insiders revealed that Current was the lost Galileo client, the second biggest client. This is actually what marked the decline in Galileo accounts, broke that trend. Apple offering hit $1 billion in deposits in their first 4 days. And our favorite friend, Mr. David Cavarini, set his $2.50 price target on SoFi. And that really started this mega rally that we saw from $4 all the way that lasted until the end of July.
That's a
11.
12-month price target for everyone that's listening. So he's halfway through that. He's more than halfway, not looking up.
Well, in his defense, he did raise it, I think, to $3. So,
Ooh,
Generous. You missed one thing on May, though. Crossroads became a shareholder in May.
no.
Yeah, how can I miss that? Crossroads became a shareholder in May.
Literally, and I know I don't want to take long on this, but when I had been eyeing SoFi for a year and a half, actually slightly, well, anyway, but mostly a Palantir shareholder. I had profits that I took on some leaps. I was looking for another investment. I'm like, man, SoFi, I've been staring at this. I bought it, and literally, I think within 2 days, I was up like 20% or something stupid. And then I bought a bunch of leaps too, and those were up like 100%. And I'm like, this is not fair to existing SoFi shareholders, but I'll take it.
Well, yeah, you picked a perfect time. Actually, also in May, Chris Patel basically ticked the bottom by buying SoFi. He later sold it, I think, in June, which was a fantastic trade for him. But
he kind of called the bottom and then called the top.
And the top, yeah. June, the student loan pause ended with the Supreme Court ruling against the Biden administration. SoFi rallied to 52-week highs, became really heavily shorted. I think at this point it was over 20% short interest. Cathie Wood started a position 1 month after Crossroads did. So guess who follows who on that trade? And Cathie's been buying all throughout the year, more so in the fall. But June is when the first pickup started. SoFi dropped the lawsuit against the Department of Education. There was obviously no point in having it since the Supreme Court ruling was in their favor. And they released the Face of Finance campaign. If you remember, this is that female-centric ad that they released around investing.
It was very good.
July, FedNow was officially launched. This is when we first started hearing the rumblings about Goldman Sachs and Apple partnership coming to an end. The SoFi Invest app got somewhat of a makeover and upgrade in terms of functionality. SoFi boosting their APY to 4.4%. In May, they boosted it to 4.3%. I sort of didn't keep up with all the APY boosts. I would run out of tweet character limits, but they've been boosting it all throughout. August, SoFi smashed Q2 earnings. This is when the stock peaked July 31st. They set new 52-week highs at $11.70. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour went essentially viral because she also filmed the Eras Tour movie, which was released a couple of months later, I think in September or October. SoFi became the 90th largest U.S. bank by assets. Large institutions like JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley started to buy heavier into this, along with Three Arrow Cap, one of those guys. Essentially, institutions started to buy heavier. Dan Dolev ranked SoFi among his top 3 picks. Galileo introduced small merchant business lending products.
I think Three Arrows Capital kind of went bankrupt around this time.
No, it wasn't Three Arrows because Three Arrows was in crypto. I think it was 3 Point or Third Street. It was Third Street.
September,
SoFi launched their enhanced yield ETF with options trading. The Biden administration threw yet another wrench into the mix because student loans essentially had started in September, but the Biden administration released this on-ramp, which basically said you have a 12-month grace period where you don't get dinged on your credit, you don't get reported to credit bureaus at all, you don't get interest accruing. You basically have no negative consequences for missing your payments. And keep that in mind because in December, when we report on 40% missed payments, that's why. SoFi won a Best Digital Bank Award, and they launched the SoFi car buying partnership with TrueCar.
But did they launch this publicly, or is it just the?
That's when I went live.
Okay.
October, Galileo to be a full service provider for FedNow. SoFi announced their TGL Golf League in their new facility. Galileo introduced Buy Now, Pay Later for SMBs. SoFi introduced 1% IRA matching. And Morningstar reaffirmed their AAA rating on SoFi's consumer credit.
That was a great month.
November, The things that I didn't highlight here were all the little things, like analyst upgrades, downgrades, institutions buying. Like, if you have enough content to make multiple videos a week on SoFi, then there's a lot of stuff that you're going to be missing from these recaps. SoFi released amazing Q3 earnings results. Mint shut down. They announced the shutdown in November. The official shutdown is going to be into effect on January 1st, where they're essentially pushing their members through Credit Karma. SoFi actually released a very cheeky Twitter post last week where they were saying, like, no mint in your stocking, try Relay, which was kind of cute. SoFi was beta testing new features. This was, not fleet management, credit card expense management, one of these that they were beta testing back then. And the biggest news, I think, was their CFO, Chris Lapointe, breaking down loan sales, announcing that $2 billion forward flow agreement. Basically, the biggest concerns here were around SoFi's ability to unload their loan book and their rising, essentially what they had on hand. The thing that's not underscored here is like what's going on with the Fed raising rates, the hikes, the macro, the hard landing versus soft landing, what the PCE reports, PPI, all of that stuff. In December, right. Apple and Goldman partnership ends. Essentially, Apple has 12 to 15 months to find a new partner. SoFi removed their crypto offerings, which was a contingency of the bank charter. They hosted a retail shareholder Q&A, which featured a whole bunch of dumb questions. The short interest surged for the company, where, all we're talking about now is the potential of a short squeeze leading into January. And they were fined about $700,000 by FINRA, or a combined $2.6 million, along with M1 Public and Sogo Trade, I think was the last one. And that's December so far.
Of good going on here, but I'll like the tweet anyway.
How did I do adding context?
I'm gonna unlike December. It's like meh.
Yeah. And yet that was like, in terms of share price, maybe the best.
It goes to show you that when a company is improving fundamentally, it's undervalued. That when macro changes, it can really appreciate. So
sentiment is so much more important to investors than just the sheer numbers. Thank you for that. It's funny because even looking back on things like in May, some of those changes, they feel so recent. Like the SoFi TrueCar partnership feels like it almost hasn't even happened yet, and yet that was months and months ago.
Well, the interesting thing is that I sort of found a mixed sentiment around that. Some things feel incredibly recent and some things feel incredibly distant. For example, the whole Silicon Valley Bank, Credit Suisse, First Republic, all of that collapse feels really distant to me.
Yeah, even like 23.
Right? Even like the Supreme Court rulings, the SoFi suing the Biden administration, Department of Education, like that's recent, but it doesn't feel like it,
I think I jumped in a pool then.
You did.
For the SoFi Weekly.
Closed?
Okay, cool. I'm curious if you guys, before giving predictions on SoFi, wanted to do a little gift exchange.
Yeah.
Do you?
Sounds good.
So we all decided to give the gift of money, but not just straight cash, of course. We wanted to give the gift of fluctuating currency and speculation by forcing people to hold on to securities for 12 months. And you can either choose to be funny with it or to try to maximize gains. I think actually what we said was that whoever gives the gift that's the best performing at the end of the year, then what was the conversation last week?
Whichever gift appreciates the most over the next 12 months will win a prize at the end of next year.
All right. Cool. Who wants to go first? And by the way, we didn't get a gift for everyone. I think Steve got Roy, Roy got Steve. And because Tevis and I don't actually have real money, we have this fake Canadian money. We're going to just exchange our currency, which is extremely devalued and on its own.
I would like to go last because there are two options for Roy, and I'm not doing option A if somebody does that option.
I'll go third then, just so
Dude,
we
no.
can go right.
So you two are going first.
No one is giving Citigroup stock. And
Okay, to be fair, since my last article on Citigroup, have you seen how much it's up?
I know. You actually have done well since I compared it to Block, because that was another one that you
I'm
tried
not
to compare.
comparing it to anything. I'm just saying that since my last article, when I said it was my top value idea, it is up
Up 20%.
24.2%. And when you include the dividend, it's up 25.81% against an S&P that's up 8.71%. Just saying.
Yeah, let's hope that growth keeps up for 2024, Steve.
I think people are going to be surprised with the book value over $90. I think people are going to be surprised. But go on.
I
You
can
two exchange gifts.
I can start, and then we can go to Tanner, and then Roy, and then Steve. Does that
Sure.
sound- Yeah, I didn't really think too heavily about this. Tanner and I, we did Stock Tank, and on Stock Tank, we talked through a whole bunch of different names. And I know he's super big into fintech, and he's big into technology in general. So I asked him earlier today whether he owned Unity, because that was one that he was interested in, but he didn't really like the CEO. And since that conversation, the CEO is gone for Unity. The stock has since rebounded. I think it bottomed out around $23 and now rebounded. It's around $40 right now. And selfishly, I would love to have Tanner involved in Unity and reading more about it, simply because them getting more heavily into the AR space, I feel like that's something where Tanner can add more value just from a pure technology perspective and diversify a little bit away from fintech specifically. So Unity is definitely my pick.
I'm happy to be a shareholder. I think that was a great gift. Thank you. I had a similar thing with the Stock Tank. I wanted to force you to buy Adyen.
Oh, that was going to be new. Okay.
No. Oh, well, I actually didn't pick that. Maybe I should pick that. No, I didn't. I might have to switch now. Maybe I should just spread the love of new. I honestly, okay, so let me start fresh. I was going to pick Adyen because I wanted to force you into something that you didn't want to be in that I knew would perform well. However, it's performed so well that I'm probably going to sell out of this position quite soon. So I don't want to buy you something that I'm not going to be in at the end of the year. And then I thought, okay, I want to get him something Canadian. Like one of my biggest holdings in my entire portfolio is a Canadian company, Shopify. But then it's had such a large run up. I didn't want to buy that for you. So I actually decided, and then I wanted to get you ServiceNow, but I'm not going to get you ServiceNow because we never talk about it. But I decided on something that hasn't run up that I believe will over the next 12 months. I wanted to actually try to win the award of making the most money over the next 12 months for you. It's your portfolio without having such a large run up recently. And so I give you the gift that I'm pretty sure you're not a shareholder in.
I know what it is.
What is it?
Nubank.
PayPal.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm all happy to be a shareholder in PayPal.
Nice.
Not a shareholder. I only own Leaps on PayPal.
That's what I remembered. Okay.
Yeah, I don't own any shares. Cool. I'll take PayPal. Yeah. Out of all the stocks, I was like, ooh, Shopify sounds cool. Nubank, I'm like, okay. Adyen, I would be like, oh, fuck.
It's run up so much. It's tough to do that one. I get, yeah, I approve of PayPal. That's great.
No, Tanner, PayPal sucks. Says Noto.
Noto.
No, he's getting it. He's forced to. So, yeah. PayPal is not Canadian. Sorry, Shopify is Canadian. I'm not getting him a Canadian stock. I thought about it. I was even going to choose Enbridge and stuff, but I actually wanted to win. So
yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. He was like, I want to get you something that outperforms. And I was thinking Canadian. I was like, those are contradictory statements.
yeah, definitely contradictory statements. But I do love me some Shopify. However, there's just been such a large run up in all these stocks in just over the past month. So it's been hard for me to find something that I think will, be good for the next 12 months. Not just if you're forced to hold for 12 months and we can't sell at certain times, there's no point in trying to get you something that is just going to continue with momentum if it's not going to last the whole time.
All right. So, Steve, I'll tell you what I didn't get you first. So, at first, I was thinking about Celsius, something that's very different than I think anything that you'd invest in. It's an energy drink. I've been doing some DD. I don't own it yet. Interested in possibly owning it next year, depending on how the valuation does. And I think that they have a unique niche, but we're not doing that. So I'm not going to talk into that.
Sorry.
The second one that I was thinking of getting you, which I think you really would like, and you may actually own, but we're not going to do it, is Cheesecake Factory. Do you own that one?
No.
I was looking at it. I'm like, this is a Steve stock, and if I was getting him something that he'd really like, but that would just do decently over the next year, that's the one I would pick. But I decided to go a different direction. I know you like fintech. I know you like clean balance sheets. I know you prefer dividends. This is not a dividend stock. And I know you know this stock well. I don't know if you own it. And I was in this same conundrum with Tanner, where I was looking at it. I'm like, man, this is going to be great
He's gonna put block on me.
Nope.
Oh, thank God.
No, I would never do that. Like that is the unforgivable sin. So forget that. But no, this is an amazing company that I think in 2024 is going to do phenomenally well. And it's Robinhood. So Robinhood, you're going to be a shareholder.
I'm happy to buy it.
Now, do you own shares of it yet?
I do not. I'm happy to buy it.
Sweet.
And this will probably make me buy more shares than the allotment.
Yeah. And so like the hard thing is it's run up from like $8.90 to like $13.
Doesn't matter. I've looked at this.
Doesn't matter.
I've looked at this several times. I looked at it with Amit for a little bit. There's things I really like about it. There was things that I did not like about it. Obviously, I missed the run up because I was too worried about their revenue and other things, transactional volume. But there are some definite tailwinds going into 2024. Balance sheet is incredible. And I think they have a hard floor around $7.50 or $8 because of the amount of cash on hand they have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy to own it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And real quick, like on what I see in 2024 for you, it's a golden confluence of events. So you already have the UK rollout, which is starting. That's going to add to monthly active users, one of the bear cases. You have Europe, actually the EU launching the crypto platform for Robinhood, and they've done that, and it seems like it's doing well. Of course, Bitcoin and crypto is doing well. That's something that has not been good for Robinhood. Stocks, as far as the bull market, options trading has gone up, and so volume has gone on that. At the same time, while their cash sweeps and their interest and their earnings from their book that they have are going to continue to do quite well over the next year. So you actually set up in 2024 this golden confluence of events where even at $13, if I didn't own Robinhood, I'd buy it. I own plenty. I'm not, well, they're all leaps at this point. But I don't know beyond 2024. I don't know if I want to be super long-term on that. I'll probably take profits along the way, but for
I've
you.
said before, I think they're an acquisition target.
Yes. Yeah.
I've said that many times.
And so enjoy. I think it'll do well for you.
Well, you're going to like my gift. And I wrote everything down, so it's not like I'm just pulling this shit out of my ass.
Tevis, you should have bought me that, by the way.
All right.
Oh,
I'm actually going to let you pick gift A or gift B.
Oh, okay.
So gift A is the full allotment of SOFI. And I am surprised that nobody on a SOFI podcast gave SOFI.
Because we already hold a bunch.
Yeah.
So what?
Oh, I'm probably going to go with gift A. I'm just telling you.
Can I guess your gift B?
The rule is you can't gift something that they own already. That's the whole point.
There's no rule. We set a dollar amount.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I don't remember that rule, but yeah.
We set a dollar amount. Now, gift B is a trifecta. It's a blend.
Tesla.
That's over the dollar amount, sir. So the trifecta is 2 shares of Pfizer, because I think it's bottomed. It's going to have a good 2024. Got like a 5.8% yield on it. 4 shares of SOFI, and then with the remaining capital, 5 shares of a lottery ticket called Terillion.
Yeah,
So-
we actually did a after hours, me and Steven, talking about that.
Yeah,
Talking
that's
about that
a
stuff.
straight lotto ticket.
You decided to give Roy the gift of Pfizer, the stock that's been straight
You'll-
down and
You'll
at
be
2013
surprised.
levels.
You'll be surprised.
Great.
Since it's legal and I love SoFi, I'm going to go with the 10 shares of SoFi.
There you go. 10 shares of SoFi going into your account.
Definitely
Love
do that instead of doing this math equation where there's all these different allotments.
I did the math equation for him almost perfectly to the T. 2, 4, and 5.
Yeah, I also was not trying to pick based on like I'll make him buy shares of Service now if frickin' we can buy fractional shares. I wasn't trying to stay.
I think
No, it's not fractional shares. Like, I actually looked at how much everything was trading
No,
for. and
just
I did
put in
it.
the ones that you think are going to win. That's that.
Well, I think Pfizer's going to have a really good 2024.
Okay. Ooh, Tom gifting out 5 gifted subs in Tevis's channel in the spirit of giving.
Love it. So those 5 people, including Noto, who got a membership gift, they're going to be able to watch the members only portion of this live stream tomorrow.
There you go.
So congrats.
Oh, John Blake just said XRP. You know what? I don't know if you guys saw the news or not, but the Central Bank of Ireland just I have it somewhere. They just did something big with XRP. Hold on.
So here's my whole experience from this exercise, and I actually really liked it simply for the fact that it forces us to broaden our horizons, because there are picks that I'm positive on, but I am not, like even PayPal or even Robinhood. Like, sure, I might buy a couple of these things or I might be bullish on them, but whenever I get the money hit my brokerage account, I just go straight into SoFi like a junkie instead of diversifying into other positions. Whereas through this exercise, what I personally liked about it was that it gives us exposure to companies that the other members of the group are bullish on that we don't own. And so that's why, in my mind, I took it as like an exercise in forcing ourselves to get more exposure, because now that I'm going to own PayPal, the gift is like $100 or whatever, but every time money hits, also known as net new funds, every time net new funds hits the account, PayPal is a contender for me to add. And I think it's just for mentally that roadblock has been.
Pause you real quick? I don't think he realizes he's a member. You're going to have access. You were literally the example that Tevis talked about. So you'll watch the video, Noto. Don't worry about it. Plus, you're worth like $100 million. Just relax.
So sorry. What I was just to finish that thought. I think the exercise was really good to force me to overcome the mental barrier of owning a new position in my account. And now that the new position is in my account, because I have to essentially get PayPal, I can add to that position and start building it out. And I think that's a really cool exercise.
Hey, I wouldn't have bought Unity, but whenever you told me that I was getting Unity, or at least that's what I derived whenever you asked me, do you have shares of Unity?
I thought that was a rule. Like, we couldn't get you stuff that you already own, because otherwise, like, we all gift each other SoFi, and then what's the point?
We didn't say that, but next time, let's do that. I loved it for that exercise too. And actually all 4 of these picks, except for kind of Steve's Frankenstein monster one, which even that one was okay. Like, it's not bad, but
I was going to give you Exxon Mobil, but it went above 100 this week.
Yeah.
So what would you have given him, Steve, if fractional was an option?
If fractional was an option, there's a pretty good chance he would have got either Alphabet or Tesla.
What about ExxonMobil? You just said you were going to give him Exxon.
Wait, what? What did you say, Davis?
I asked Roy if he owns either of those.
Tesla, yeah. Exxon, I'm interested in, but at a future date, possibly.
I think that they're going to be very strong the next couple of years, and it was hovering around 98. So I was like, please don't go over 100 so I can give this as the gift. And then it went to like 102 today.
Man, Microsoft's a beast.
Yeah.
Like,
Beast.
so impressive. So
Beast.
impressive.
But hey, I am officially a shareholder of Tesla now with my own money, not my wife's.
Is that all of us are in Tesla? Are all of us in Tesla? Okay.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And now we're all in PayPal, or we will be.
We're all going to be in PayPal. Yep.
And I don't. Maybe just Steve and I are in Robinhood. Are either of you guys in Robinhood?
Not in Robinhood currently.
Not in Robinhood.
No, and I'm kind of beating myself up because I said right after their latest earnings, I said at this point, after the sell-off after Q3, I do think that this is an attractive company again, and then just did nothing with it. Just because I was buying in and I didn't have a lot of capital in terms of just stuff that wasn't already invested. So I was like, I'm not going to sell out to buy this company. And then it freaking does amazing.
Robinhood, yeah, had a great run. I saw Affirm was the one that gave me a little bit of FOMO because I was making a video and I was saying, "Oh, look at Block, look at Affirm, look at Robinhood," and I saw Affirm. And I was like, "Damn!" But you know what? I don't have that much FOMO because also SOFI's run up quite a bit.
PSFA. Why is that sound
Paysafe.
PaySafe. Yeah. It was a big one in 21, I think.
Then became a small one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's funny how much, like, the more I look into SoFi, how much I like this company. I feel so safe holding this company.
So I got a question for you guys about SoFi. I was loosely considering selling cover calls against maybe 25% of my position. And I don't know if I don't know if I want to. I don't know. I was looking a year out. No, not a year. I'm sorry. I was looking out to June because the premiums were pretty good, pretty high out of the money because I really don't want to get the shares called away and I really don't want to roll them. But I think that SoFi is going to have a really good 2024 and I just don't want them to get called away.
So let me, because surprisingly, we're at 50 minutes already, which blows my mind a little bit. I know we have one more SoFi Weekly until the end of the year. I think that's on the 29th. Maybe that's the SoFi Weekly where we can do
predictions.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
you guys don't want to do predictions?
Well, we only have 10 minutes left. I think so. For the 10 minutes that we have left, maybe we can just answer the question, how high will SoFi go? Because that was the title of the holiday special. And
that is that's the
I know. And then we can keep all of the other predictions in a full episode at the end of the year. Does that sound
you mean
make that the whole premise of next week's episode about
exactly? Because
like members and products and stuff? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I have a bunch of other predictions, members, products, how high
you came prepared.
But I mean, this week we covered 2023 in recap, the Christmas stuff, and then maybe we do what we think the price will hit, and we do all predictions next week.
So what are we doing right now then?
Price prediction.
What do we think the price is going to hit in 2024?
At what point? At the end of Q4?
At any point in 2024, what do we think is the max price hit?
I don't know. At any point?
Let's do till the end of the year next year. That's easier, I think. Oh, I guess we could do both. The peak and the end of the year.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go second.
I'll go first. I think that at the end of 2024, with the stock being 4 quarters of profitability, in my belief, a market cap that is suitable to join the S&P 500, which I think will be more than $15 billion, with, members to accelerate, Galileo clients coming on due to, Fed Now and all these things, all exciting. I think that we see probably around $25, $25 at the end of 2024.
I thought I'd be higher than you guys, but I'm right there. 24 and 24 was my prediction for the end of the year.
24, 24?
I didn't think of what like the peak in the middle of but I would say 25. I just I think that they're going to be close to their peak towards the end of the year. Typically, the end of the year is a pretty good month, especially for a stock like SoFi, which I think will continue to execute quarter after quarter. I don't see them stumbling along the way. We'll talk more about it next week as far as the reasons. But yeah, I know it sounds like a meme, 24 and 24, but I'm like, yeah, it's looking like a $24, $25 stock to me. So
my guess was going to be 20. Which
But
I'm starting to realize is the lowest of the group. But I was thinking something to the effect of we hit 20, maybe we pull back around 17, 18, and sort of form another base around that area. But 20 was my pick.
Steve?
I'm undecided. I'm looking at the implied volatility on the option chain for January 17, 2025. Because that's where I was going to sell cover calls. I was actually considering 22 because the premium is 62 cents a share right now. And that means that you would generate $62 every 100 shares because option contracts are blocks of 100 shares. The implied volatility is 69.34%, which I didn't think the implied volatility is going to be anywhere near that. We got 4 earnings reports that are going to be delivered in 2024. You got Q4 coming up at the end of January. They're going to be profitable unless something very bad happens, but they have not said, and the quarter's over in a week, so they haven't said they're not going to be profitable. So I got to believe they're going to be profitable. If they become profitable, I think they get to 13 or 14 after earnings. And hopefully this is the time they don't drop. You got another report coming out in May, then another one in August, and then another one in October. And I think financials are going to do pretty well.
It is also an election year. Steve's making this pick like his life depends on it.
So I'm going to say something that's going to be a little crazy. What's the all-time high?
27, I think.
While he's calculating, I want to revise my peak to 29. I think we get a short squeeze at some point.
Hold on. Okay, so
I'm
we doing
going-
26 is the all-time high.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 26.50. I'm gonna say we take out all-time highs next year through a combination of being profitable, growing, and the shorts getting fried.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Steve, you initially said 22, and then you went 26.50.
No. I said 22 is the last option I can see on the chain,
Okay.
and it has a 69.34% implied volatility.
And then, Roy, are you changing your pick from 24?
24 and 24 at the end. I think we hit 29 at some point in the year, just because of a short squeeze or a gamma squeeze, depending on.
Yeah,
Either way.
I guess at a peak, it could go higher. I'm just looking at it from a perspective of not only are things going to be good through 2024, but I think investors, the way that right now in 2023, we're looking ahead to 2024, we'll be doing that looking into 2025. And I think it'll be even more optimistic whenever looking at how many new members we're going to be taking on.
Yeah,
if that does happen, obviously things change, but also things can change to the positive as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if it stays in the teens. I wouldn't be surprised if it makes a run to 30.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like nothing's going to surprise me. But when you look at where this stock traded, you had 3 runs up toward 25 before the market shit the bed. And next year we could see something that looks like 2021 for the simple fact that if you look at a 5-year chart, even though we've had a big run now, the markets have not done anything in 2 years. They're back to where they were. So you could have a euphoric moment next year, and you could have a lot of capital coming into the sidelines. Inflation's coming down. SoFi's adding products. There's a lot of things happening. Unless they screw up some way.
So,
I
Steve,
see good
would you like
things.
to also add a second price, which is your peak price, what it peaks at? And same goes to you, Tanner. I think I'll do 24 as my peak, honestly.
I have zero idea on that.
I'll say that there's a very small chance it can break 30 at some point next year.
Yeah, like anything's possible.
Anything's possible because it's 16% short right now.
Yep.
They start adding profitability and shorts have to cover, and this becomes a real financial option for a lot of people. Not, I don't want to say that SoFi is not looked at the same regard as JP Morgan right now. But if the narrative continues to keep changing the way it has been, I think people are going to take SoFi a lot more seriously, and I think they're going to get a lot more institutional buyership. I think you're going to see a lot of money come into this, and it could take this higher. I mean, the market cap's only $9.2 billion, and the biggest thing that I think people need to keep in mind is when money comes off the sideline, there are going to be people that look to play the catch-up trade, and I don't think they're going into big tech because of how big Amazon's run 80% in the past year. I don't think money for a catch-up trade is going in Amazon. I think money for a catch-up trade is going to go in growth companies like SoFi to try to make up that difference that they need to make up for sitting in cash for a year when the markets are up significantly. So we'll see.
And maybe this is a conversation for the after hours, because honestly, I want to save some of that macro talk, potentially what everyone's seeing that could potentially push SoFi in the right direction in 2024. But something that I feel like I've been thinking about a lot, but no one seems to be talking about it nearly enough, is everyone wants to talk about AI and how that's going to affect companies like Palantir and NVIDIA and Microsoft and these sorts of things. How does AI affect Walmart? How does AI affect SoFi? How does AI affect the companies that are like utilizing these softwares? I just think
pretty simple answer.
Well, I mean, yes,
It's
but
a
I mean,
very simple answer.
what magnitude is not a simple answer. You don't know how much it's going to affect it, right?
Walmart over the next couple of years should see a tremendous amount of cost savings.
Yeah, tremendous
from
amount of
AI.
cost savings is not a percentage. You know what I mean? So, like, I
No,
agree
but how
with
it's
you.
going to impact it, AI should not impact Walmart on a top line revenue because it's a goods-based service, goods-based company. AI is not going to impact what you need to buy for your day-to-day life. What AI for Walmart is going to do is SaaS companies are going to get that much better. You're going to see the way that cloud transformation and SaaS transformation and back office services, AI is going to be the next revolution of that. It's just going to make these companies way more efficient and maybe even improve margins a little bit. It's going to be more about profitability for those companies.
I think AI is bigger than people think in terms of the idea that it would impact top line growth. I think that for a company like Walmart, this is the thing about AI. It's not one thing or the other. It'll expand to every single aspect of their company, and that will include things like using AI to increase average order volume. You're seeing that already in PayPal and these sorts of things. Why is that not going to go into
average order volume on the vendor side or average order volume on the customer side?
On the customer side.
How is AI going to make me order less of something or more of something?
Yeah, they'll say, hey, you know what? You need more toilet paper. And then you'll be like, you know what? You're right. You convinced me.
No.
Well, PayPal does it. So why can't Walmart do that with similar ways of saying,
so you
hey,
realize that these e-commerce sites already have suggestions where you should probably buy this if you're buying that, right?
I know, but those get better. Just because they exist don't mean that
and those can get better, but they're not going to go to the extent of you need this much of X.
It's not. I'm simplifying it because I don't have the exact answers. What I'm saying is, I think that AI is flexible to every aspect of a company, and it won't fully be recognized in 2024. But this is like the 1998 era of the internet, and trying to predict how the internet is going to affect newspapers to what it is today is just not even fathomable.
Say
And
95 moment, not 98 moment. We're in the infancy still.
I think because I think what makes the internet or what makes this AI era faster than the internet era is that we already have the hardware. Like the hard part about the internet era was supplying everyone with PCs. Everyone has a PC in their pocket. The like cloud computing is going to allow for AI to be expandable instantaneously. It's how OpenAI got to 100 million customers in a couple days. That wasn't possible in the internet era. So I think that it'll be faster than people think.
The exciting thing to me is, so yes, you have the .com, the internet, of course, bubble, but it's a real thing. It had a huge impact, a significant impact. Most of the major companies that exist now would not be what they are without the internet. And I think the impact to AI is going to be, and I've said this before, like the Industrial Revolution on that scale. But it'll take much less time to actually implement. And there's literally no company out there that it won't at some point hit, even if it's just hitting all of the other companies around them and people and individuals and enriching the way that things are done throughout a country and boosting the economy. It'll have an effect on everything. And so we're looking at it. And I one of the guys that I follow on Twitter mentioned this. He said, this is not just a wave. This is an AI tsunami that's coming. And with Walmart, there's going to be top line benefits. A lot of those things will be bottom line. And I think some of those things with the tech savvier companies will really start hitting in late 2024. That's when we start to see that ramp. And of course, 25 and 26, more implementation of that. But some of those companies that are like, oh, AI is just a fad, and I'm going to go with this solution, which really is an AI. It's not really doing what it needs to do. That they'll try to do that for maybe a couple of years, but this next decade is going to be incredible. And financial institutions like SoFi, like PayPal, they can implement this AI, this tech, on a much faster basis than a Walmart that's trying to reinvent, their supply chain and their staffing and trying to figure out where to put new stores and how to price things. They can do that, but it's harder for them versus like a fintech.
Maybe if I can just add just a final word before we move over to the members only. The way I see it in its nascency right now, a lot of people don't really know how AI can directly find value for them. I mean, this is the thing that Palantir gets a lot of flack for, to say, okay, like it's cool, but like people don't see the potential of it in just their everyday application. So to Tanner's example, like the Walmart, for example, and really right now you could split it into two camps: the providers and then the consumers from a B2B perspective. So Walmart, for example, they already have some type of chatbot. They already have something that says, predictive consumer trends that says, oh, you need more toilet paper, right? That's going to get better. Sure, it's going to get better because they'll have more data and they'll have better sort of decision tree, better logic in their model. But I think SoFi
is a lot of people.
Hold on, let me just finish.
Not going to like something telling them what to do.
I think a lot of people will. Look how popular ChatGPT is, and then tell me people don't like someone telling them what to do.
Look at what's going on in society today. There's a lot of mistrust, and at some point, with the route that you guys are talking, AI is going to tell you how much food you should be ordering. Nobody's going to go for that.
It's not about telling you.
Nobody's going to let AI dictate what they do with purchasing.
It's not dictating.
Nobody's telling me how many steaks
it's
I
advice.
can eat. I got news for everybody.
Let me just finish.
It's like following a recipe.
Even further.
It's like following a recipe, Stephen. No one is being forced to make a cake the way a recipe tells them to. But if you want the cake to taste any good, you might as well follow a recipe rather than trying it on your own. Like it's AI is not telling you how to write an exam. It's giving you, here's how I would write it. And then people go, I like that. And
AI is not going to tell me how many steaks I should buy. I got news for you.
Yeah, but it might if it's telling you that this is how much
Yeah,
your
no,
family
it
usually
might. What I
eats.
am saying is, I will never, ever fall into this where I'm going to listen to anything about how much of anything I should buy.
That's like the people that said, "Oh, I'll never follow an advertisement." Then they see all these ads online, and then you go, "Oh, you
If
know
I
what?
want
This
to eat
new-"
2 steaks in
Okay,
a
dude.
night, I'm going to eat 2 steaks in a night.
Dude,
I
who
know.
cares? Like, Steve just realized the value proposition of Robinhood this year. Like, it's not. There's a big disconnect. Let me finish my goddamn point, and then we
Sorry.
can log off. My point was, Steve, I sort of got if you interrupt me again. My my point was that it's going to be split into two camps, right? The providers and the consumers. And the entire thing is that SoFi is going to grow faster, and they're going to be more of an expert in AI because they physically have to be, because Galileo is going to be a provider of AI to all the financial institutions in terms of like what Connecta is doing right now and how that can affect the B2B business to provide the infrastructure for financial institutions that then goes to the consumers. Walmart, for example, just as an example, right? It doesn't need to innovate in terms of AI because whatever the AI companies make, Walmart is going to benefit from that because Walmart is not fundamentally an AI company. SoFi in 2024 will move faster and will be on the bleeding edge of that because they have to be, because they're going to be offering that AI solution as a product.
Yeah. I just think it's a good time for the S&P 500 in general, though. There will be winners that take
Agreed.
most, but I think that we're just going into roaring 20s.
Yep. There's issues. There's always are. Climbing the wall of worry. It's something you do in a bull market. But yeah, bottom line, like this next decade looks very, very rosy, and invest in Palantir. Oh, wait, wrong stock. Just kidding.
Thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. If you want to hear more from Macro Steve and a little bit of more AI talk, because I'm definitely not done, I really
I
do
got 2
appreciate
things
it
I'm going
if you
to.
guys go down and get a little membership, and that'll allow you to watch the content after this. And if you guys haven't already, subscribe, and then there'll be a join button. It's $5 a month. All right.
It's
Yeah, I'm
essentially
going to
just
go over the macro thing and my investment in Tesla, why I invested.
Gotcha,
okay. Yeah, that's going to be a big one. For
It's gonna
new
be big.
people that just joined, how you can watch this, because I know some of you are going to ask,
tomorrow.
is tomorrow around noon or 1 p.m. We'll post it on the channel. Whatever channel you're watching from that you're a member of, it'll get posted there.
And I may be able to sneak in some PayPal if these guys let me.
All right. See you guys then.
Thanks, everybody.
Did you send the link?